Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello and welcome to The Print. You're watching yet another episode of the Defense Tracker. Now, in the past few days, or I should say over the past few weeks, you would have heard a lot about the India-UK defense ties. You know, you had the UK carrier strike group, which is passing through the Indo-Pacific. It had come to Mumbai. You would have seen shots of it on various channels. And another interesting aspect of the bilateral relations between the two countries is the fact that both countries are now focusing on a free trade agreement. Now, the formal talks, the finalization of the FTA is likely to begin later this month, around the 22nd of November. And hence, I have someone who's a guest with me to discuss about the road ahead and also, you know, the impact and the growth opportunities as far as the defense sector is concerned. Well, I have with me Richard McCallum. He is the Vice Chair of the UK-India Business Council and he heads the defense segment. So welcome to the Print, Richard.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome. Great to be here.
Thank you. Richard, my first question is, suddenly you see a forward movement happening as far as, at least from the visual part of it, as far as India-UK defense relations are concerned. Why is that so?
Well, I mean, the visit to Mumbai by the carrier strike group was a very visual presence of the UK's ambitions in the region and its desire to strengthen the relationship with India. But I think, you know, that visit and where we are in terms of the UK-India relationship hasn't just arrived. You know, there's been a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, a lot of previous work done to get to this point. So it's not like it's sort of just arisen. The relationship, you know, has been good and is constantly improving. But yeah, the visit by the CSG was a very visual representation of it.
Absolutely. And just to understand from the viewer's perspective, what is UK's interest as far as Indo-Pacific is concerned in this particular region? You know, the carrier strike group has come here for the first time. So what is UK's focus?
Well, I can't speak precisely to the UK's focus because that's for the UK government, you know, to have that view. But as far as I see it, this is both an economic and a security imperative at work here. So, you know, if you look at where is the sort of the growth going to come from this century in the world? I mean, this region is the growth engine for the world, the economic growth engine for the world. So obviously the UK wants to build links with this part of the world, especially as it's now left the European Union. That's a very important imperative going forwards. And then there's a security issue, the security aspect to this as well. I mean, this region geopolitically is increasingly important, and India within this region is not just regionally important. India is geopolitically, globally very important now. And I think the UK's strategy in terms of its engagement with the Indo-Pacific is a recognition of that fact.
Well, that's a good thing. And you rightly mentioned that, you know, this particular region is like the growth engine for the world. And you've also pointed out another important element is that UK, the United Kingdom is no longer part of the EU, European Union. And so where do you see this FTA, the free trade agreement that has been discussed, where do you think this going ahead?
Well, again, I mean, that's the government's to work out, and it's their timetable. But so far, I think it's moved remarkably quickly to this current moment. So we've had a period of pre-consultation, gathering the feedback from business, not just in defense where I operate, but also across several sectors. There's been a lot of feedback gone in, and the UKIBC has taken that feedback to the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Finance, and to the counterpart ministries in the UK. So progress has been pretty good so far. I believe the formal sort of the negotiations will start later on this year, and we're very positive about it. Business is very positive about it. Our members are very positive about it.
So the members are very positive about this free trade agreement. I'm sure that is true also from the Indian side too. You look after defense, and what is the kind of impact do you foresee in case there is a FTA that is signed between India and UK? The impact on the defense sector per se, and where does the defense sector currently stand right now in terms of trade, in terms of volume, and where do you see this going ahead?
Sure. I mean, the volumes, to be frank, the volumes of trade between the UK and India on defense have I mean, historically they were very high. They've gone through a pretty low patch in the last generation. I think we should recognize that fact. They are now picking up, they're now improving. The strategy that the UK has, Team UK, which is the UK government and representation of business like ourselves, the strategy I think is beginning to work now and build momentum towards improved trade statistics. But in terms of the FTA, your question about the FTA, defense traditionally sits somewhat outside traditional FTAs. But I think there are sort of aspects of it that transcend defense that are important to our defense members. The treatment of IPR, customs duties, these sort of things, that they matter to all businesses, not just the ones in defense. And I think anything that can improve the operating environment between India and the UK for business will be beneficial and welcome by our members. We're certainly encouraging our members, however, to look at India not just from a kind of export of goods perspective. We think that's increasingly outdated as a model for engaging with the Indian market in defense. Look at the way India is traveling in terms of its indigenization agenda. So what I'm saying to my members in defense, sort of outside of the FTA discussion, is think of India as a place to invest. This is a place to make, to co-create, to co-develop. Eventually, we hope to export from India. So that's our strategy.
Well, and it follows, as you rightly mentioned, the whole push for Atmanirbhar Bharat or Make in India by this particular government. In terms of defense, not many people are aware of the relationship that both sides have when it comes to defense partnership. In terms of sale of equipment, there is not much, but a lot of UK, companies are part of the second tier, the third tier supply chain as far as Indian defense industry is concerned. If you could just throw some light on, the companies that are doing well in India, the British companies that are doing well for our viewers.
Absolutely. So I sort of chair a group of companies from not just from the UK, actually. We also have Indian companies, increasingly have Indian companies in the group, but collectively those companies have a turnover of about $60 billion. It's true that the Indian share of that hasn't been as good as it should have been, but it's definitely heading in the right direction. And there are many companies that are succeeding in India, that are making in India. We have BAE, we have Rolls-Royce, we have IMI Critical Engineering, Smiths, Webley and Scott just set up in UP, manufacturing small arms. So, there are a lot of companies already here, invested here, making here. There are more in the pipeline that we are talking to. They're very excited about the Indian opportunity. And in terms of your point about UK tech being sort of under the radar into the systems, that's certainly true. So look at the LCA, for example. A lot of that had UK tech on it. If you look at the P75I, I mean, some of the competitor firms that are looking at that program have a majority of tech from the UK on the solution. So I think it's a strength of the UK that there's this really deep intellectual base in defense that allows UK technology and solutions to be plugged into existing programs without necessarily headlining those programs.
Well, interesting that you mentioned this, and you mentioned this particular program, the P75I. Viewers, this is with regard to the P75 India project, which is for the building of the next 6 conventional submarines with AIP, that is Air Independent Propulsion technology. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there are 2 companies already which uses, one of the 2 companies who will be bidding for this particular project use British technology, and including the South Koreans for that matter?
I believe that's correct, yes.
So, supplying technology, becoming the 2nd tier or a 3-tier supplier to India is one thing. But how do you see the Make in India thing, in terms of transfer of technology, in terms of manufacturing equipment here? How does it make sense for the British companies to move in there, to invest in India and to manufacture in India? And what are the changes that they would like to see on the ground for these things to happen? What more can India do to attract more British companies to set up shops here? Not just shops, to set up manufacturing plants here.
Okay, lots of questions in that question. So we are strongly encouraging our members to invest in India. We think it's increasingly the only way to participate in the Indian defense market, to be invested here, to transfer technology here, to co-create and co-develop here, to make in India. And if you look at the indigenization agenda of India, that's what they're thinking as well, right? I mean, they're trying to reduce their reliance on imports. So I think it's necessary to be part of the Indian story going forward. What more could government of India do? I mean, I think if you step back from the specifics of defense for a moment, already a lot has been achieved. If you think about how India's ranking in terms of ease of doing business has improved dramatically over the last few years. And we, to corroborate that, we at UKIBC conduct an annual survey of our members to get their feedback on the operating environment. And it's every year the indicators are better than the previous year. Every year people are more positive about the operating environment here and about investing here. So there's already a lot happening. It's going in the right direction for sure. What more could happen? I mean, anything that continues to improve the operating environment is welcome by our members. We talked in the past, I think, about FDI. There was a great step forward with the move to 74%. But I think it could be streamlined further, because whatever GOI can do to increase the ease with which UK businesses invest in India, investments will follow. The companies want to invest. They want to partner with Indian companies here. They want to serve this market. Stop there.
So you're saying more ease of business. The government of India has taken a number of steps, but you want more steps to be taken so that there is more ease of business. And you also mentioned something about the customs and all, in terms of customs duty, the import duty that is levied is something that also you're looking at. Earlier, I mentioned the customs duty part of it also.
A few of our members, I mean, we represent our members' views, and so a few of our members would like to see some changes to the customs regime that would support their business, allow them to bring certain materials in, which are then worked in India. That's true. I think the other aspect to this, which we haven't really touched upon, is that government-backed support is really important. So the G2G angle is really important in the UK India relationship. I mean, that's traditionally worked for other countries, done very well out of that approach, and the UK has now come round to that view in terms of its engagement with India. So there was an MOU signed in 2019 called the DTICC MOU, and that is to encourage industrial collaboration and cooperation between companies under the sort of umbrella of government support. And I think that's a really important initiative to help foster collaboration between business. You need orders for sure, but you also need the space to collaborate, and the sort of government backing to make that happen, to mitigate some of the risks on this.
Going ahead, which sectors, I'm not focusing just on defense, but going ahead, which sectors do you think has the highest possibility of expansion, has the highest growth possibility?
I'm sorry, do you mean like subsectors within aerospace and defense, or?
No, overall, aerospace can be part of it. That's a different thing altogether. But which sector do you think has the greater growth potential?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sort of slightly outside of it because my focus area is A&D, but I see a lot of great opportunities in food and drink, in pharma, healthcare, chemicals, advanced manufacturing. Those are the areas that I see a lot of potential in.
Okay.
In terms of A&D, where we're really focused on right now is three areas where we're interested in the maritime opportunity. We think that the UK has a lot to offer in this space. I mean, the CSG is a good example of the integrated electric propulsion that powers the vessel. That is, something I think we want to promote. Then aerospace, so complex air systems. We've got an AMCA program coming up, LCA Mark II coming up. These are programs that
AMCA, the fifth generation.
Potential for the UK to be involved in. And the other one, and it's probably more state-wise than central-wise, is homeland security. So we're increasingly working with states in India to support their police modernization. Another area where we think the UK has a good solution, not a solution that we should pack in a box and just ship to India, but a solution that we can collaborate with Indian firms in various states to sort of bring to fruition, to meet India's needs in the states.
So, if when you talk about future projects, you've mentioned some of them, but which projects are you really banking on? Of course, I'm sure that would involve both from the Navy as well as from the Air Force. But if you had to name, some of the projects that the UK is really keen on to partner with India, what would that be?
So I wouldn't use the word banking on, because I think, as I mentioned earlier, the beauty of the UK industrial offer is that it's broad, it's deep, it can plug into a whole range of different programs and platforms without necessarily headlining those platforms. So I think there's a lot of space there for UK to play in. So I'm not going to say we're banking on any particular program, but we want to be involved in the programs which I mentioned. LCA, AMCA, the second indigenous carrier, P75I. I think UK tech can find a place in all of those programs.
Okay, there you go. So I hope that the road ahead for both countries is much smoother. You have systems in place that both countries can really collaborate on. And I hope that, defense generally doesn't come under the FTA thing, doesn't really have a huge impact on defense ties. But hopefully, going ahead, the FTA would ensure that there is greater business relation between the two countries and the trade and volume grows. Thank you so much, Richard, for speaking to ThePrint. And it was a pleasure having you on board.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Great talking.